Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you some slap delay tricks for getting pro vocal mixes. We're going to be talking about slap delays today, but before we dive in, if you are ready to take your vocal mixes to the next level and really perfect your EQ strategy, then I have just the thing for you. It is my ultimate guide to vocal EQ, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through how to EQ your vocals step by step to help you get polished and professional sounding vocals without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and explore some slap delay tricks. I have a vocal here. This is a finished mix here. We have the lead vocal. The only thing on the lead vocal at the moment is reverb. We're going to add some slap delay to this, and we're going to mess with it in a couple different ways to explore how these different sounds can come about in the mix and what they do for your lead vocal. Let me start here by playing you the lead vocal in this mix as it currently sits here. So here's our finished lead vocal per se for this mix.
One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far.
So it's a good sounding vocal there, a good sounding rock vocal, but how can we take it that one step further, maybe give it a little analog vibe, a little tape vibe, a little distortion? What can we do to give it that extra bump underneath with a slap delay here? So first we're going to create an effects channel here. I like using bus channels actually instead of effects channels. I just like the flexibility of having a bus channel a little bit better, and I'll show you why here in a second. So with bus channels here, we can actually send from bus channels, and you can choose if it's mono or stereo, as opposed to, you can see the other effects channels here. I can pull up on the bus channel, and you can see I have a send here, whereas there's nothing down here on the effects channel. So I can send from bus channels to other effects. So if all my effects are bus channels, I can send to other effects from the one effect, which is pretty cool. It's a nice advantage to have when using a bus channel. Like I said, I can flip the effect from mono to stereo as well, as opposed to on an effects channel, it's just stereo, or it just depends on the signal you're sending into it. All right, so we have our slap delay here. I'm going to solo safe it. All that means is you shift hold. So that means if you solo what's sending to it, so like if I solo the vocal right now, you can see all the effects sends solo as well. So my reverb will be there with my vocal soloed as well. So that's what solo safe does. And again, that's just shift click inside of Studio One. You can see it greens out the solo button there. We're gonna pull in the analog delay. You don't have to use the analog delay. You could use where's the other one? You could use the beat delay, but the analog delay has a couple other things inside of it that we're going to talk about here in a second. But I'll show you what you can use if you don't have these functions inside of your delay here. So now I'm going to go to our lead vocal here. We're going to send to the slap delay here. And we don't have to send full signal. I think the send starts at, -6 dB. Excuse me. That's where we'll start here with our slap delay. Let's get our settings in place here. Actually, I might have a preset to start with here that we can look at. Slapback delay. So we're going to start with my slapback preset here. Usually for me, I like starting around 100 milliseconds with a slap. To me, a slap is usually anywhere between about maybe 70 or 80 milliseconds to 120 milliseconds. Anywhere after that, it starts to be a little bit too long, and anywhere underneath that, it starts to feel too short and maybe like a vocal double or something like that. Not using the LFO or anything like that. We are using the color section. We'll go over that. Not using any of this here, the width or anything. We can actually turn that off, because the slap delay is going to be mono right up the middle with our vocal. Now for the color section here, we're using our low pass and high pass filters. So we got our high cut and our low cut here, and then we're also using the drive. For the low cut, which is our high pass filter, I have it rolled up to about 250 hertz here. That way we're rolling off all of that low end mud and some of that low mid area too. I don't want any low end or beef coming from my slap delay. I want all of that to come from the lead vocal. You've probably heard me say before, with low end, I want it coming from one source, and I especially don't want it coming from effects in my mix. And then for top end, I'm rolling the high cut or the low pass filter up to about 3K here. That way we don't get any harshness or anything, especially with the drive cranked up. So the drive is adding some distortion, some extra color in, and I have that cranked up to 100% here. But we'll start without it in. We'll go to 0 here. We'll start just with the slap delay, no drive on it. And let me show you what this is sounding like here if I just solo up the vocal and our slap delay here.
Take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do what?
So it kind of makes our vocal feel three-dimensional, right? It gives it that extra aspect right behind it, which is the delay, right? So we have our vocal, and then we have that delay that's slightly after it. Excuse me, just 100 milliseconds after our vocal, and it gives our vocal that depth and that dimension with the delay being right after it. Now let's throw this drive in. So let me unsolo the vocal. I'll just solo up the slap delay here, and you can hear what our drive sounds like as I dial this up. This is something you can tuck underneath to give your vocal a little bit of extra aggressiveness. So the slap delay by itself gives your vocal some dimension, some depth to it, and then if you put the drive in here, then you can kind of get some extra grit and some extra aggression underneath your vocal as well. So here's just our slap delay now.
1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps.
So you can hear now we have a little bit of grit, a little bit of edge on our vocal here, or on our slap delay. So let's pull this down now, and we'll tuck it underneath our vocal. Then we'll turn our reverb on, and we'll mix it in. We'll see how it sits together in the mix here.
And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's you're burning through my hands. It's too much weight that I can stand, holding in while you breathe freely. All the promises you'll break, but it can't end this way. Oh, I need you more. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps, we're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into.
That sounded nice right there. I have it a little bit subtle. It's just, you hear that little bit of grit underneath, that little bit of dimension that comes in. If you hear when I pull the slap delay out, we lose a little bit of dimension on our vocal. Our vocal starts to feel a little bit more flat, a little bit more one-dimensional. It has some depth and some width about it from our reverb, but our slap delay is giving it an extra level of dimension because we have that delay right after our vocal, so it doesn't feel so flat and so one-dimensional. Okay, so let me talk about briefly, if you don't have something here like this analog delay that has our color section in it. So if you don't have something like this, if all else fails, you can pull these out, and you can start with an EQ. So we'll pull an EQ in here after our analog delay. So you just get your normal delay set up, and then pull in an EQ afterwards, and we'll just do the same thing that color section was doing. So we'll set our high pass filter to 250 hertz here, and we'll set our low pass filter to 3K. So now we have that same kind of filter that was running on our delay, and then afterwards you could just pull in a distortion plugin. And you can set this distortion plugin however you'd like to get the amount of distortion or grit that you want on your delay.
One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step.
So even at the minimum setting here on the drive, it sounds pretty close to where our analog delay was sitting by itself here. So we're going to go back now. I'm going to get rid of these 2 plugins here, and we're going to go back to using the low cut here on our actual analog delay. So if you have these functions built in, it's a nice starting point here. So we'll put our low cut back to 250, our high cut back to 3K, and we're going to keep our drive off for the moment. What we're going to try next is we're going to try building out a tape style delay. So we're going to go down here to the tape machine here from Sumthins. So we're going to pull this in after our delay here. So now it's going to be like a tape slap back here that we're using on our vocal. So now we're going to send from our lead vocal here to our slap delay. It's going into the analog delay, and then out of the analog delay, we're coming into the soft tube tape machine here. We're going to start, we'll start at the default settings that it pops up at. I'm going to keep it at 15 IPS here on the tape speed. So let's see what just this sounds like here on our tape, on our analog delay here. So this is just the slap delay.
One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step.
So we can push it really hard like this and get some distortion, some grit from the tape machine, which is kind of cool. That's a nice way to start with. And you can always mix it in. There's a dry, wet mix knob on here, which is pretty cool. But starting out there, I kind of liked where we were sitting. So if we go back to Unity here, we're at about 6.5 here on the amount. And it's got to sit in between about 7 and 3 here on the VU meter. That's a good place for me, kind of right in the middle. So we're not pushing it too hard, but we're not going too gentle and losing any vibe that we could get from this. The type, I'm sticking with A here. A feels the most balanced and full-bodied to me. B was a lot of low end, and C felt like it pushed up the top end a little bit. I like the balance of A. I tried a couple different tape speeds here. 15 felt right to me there. We're going to leave the rest of these settings the same. Like I said, if you want some extra distortion on, you could push up and then just pull your output down to match the level you're pushing in. Right here is feeling really, really good to me. So let's pull this down now. We'll mix this in with our vocal. We'll throw our reverb back in and then mix it back into the track.
One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take.
I love the analog vibe that you get from putting a tape machine after your slap delay, or after anything really on bass or kick or anything like that, it sounds really, really good. I love using tape machines. Probably one of my favorite plugins to pull in to get some kind of analog vibe or some tape vibe there. Last thing we're going to try here is we're going to try both now. So the two techniques we talked about, besides just putting on a slap delay, is using some drive or some distortion after your analog delay, after your slap delay, and then using a tape machine to get a tape slap vibe. So now we're going to do both, right? We're going to take some drive here and we're going to crank this all the way up and see what it sounds like with both here. So let's solo up just our slapback delay here and push the drive up.
One step, and it's much too far. Take two steps. We're way too close, but take three steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to you.
So you can hear with the tape machine after, our distortion or the drive that we push up on the analog delay doesn't feel so crunchy and it doesn't feel so crispy on the top end. That's something that you get from putting a tape machine after your slapback delay. It doesn't feel so digitally bright. A lot of times delays or digital reverbs suffer from that digital or digititis type of vibe. Putting a tape machine after it can really round off those digital edges and make it sound very, very smooth. So that's a nice effect there. Let's balance this in with our vocal, throw our reverb in, and then we'll put our final slapback delay inside the mix here.
One step, and it's much too far. I'll take two steps. We're way too close, but take three steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take two steps. We're way too close, but take three steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take two steps. We're way too
A couple neat tricks for you to try here on your slapback delay. You can keep it dry if you want and use just the analog delay, just the delay, no filters, no drive or anything. I would encourage you to try the filters to make sure you don't get too much low end or too much mud on your slapback delay or too much of that top end. Sometimes S is coming through on the slapback delay, don't sound very good, so rolling off the top end can be helpful there. If you want some extra grit, some extra aggression coming through on your vocal, definitely give the drive or distortion a try. So if you don't have a drive function on your delay, pull in a distortion plugin. The red light distortion is very, very cool. You could always use a guitar pedal as well if you want to go that route. And just put a little bit of distortion on the slapback delay and it'll show up as a little bit of grit and a little bit of extra edge on your vocal inside the mix. And then if you want a smoother style slapback delay, try a tape machine after the fact. Like I said, with the grit in combination like that, it'll round off those digital edges and give you a smoother slapback delay. So it'll give you that dimension effect from your slapback delay, but it'll be smoother after the fact. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your vocal mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your EQ strategy, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my ultimate guide to vocal EQ, and you can download it below to start creating more professional vocal mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.